Hi, my name is Eldon Brooks. I'm a creative wannabe and a mental health advocate. This channel is a collection of all my different hyperfixations and projects. And lately, one of my hyperfixations has been photography. So last week, I made a video talking about my Olympus pen versus a Fujifilm camera with a pancake lens. Overall, really happy with this camera. It's super fun to use. I've enjoyed taking photos of my son, and I've enjoyed all the different art modes. There are some limitations, and I'll get into a couple of those, and I can make a more in-depth review if people want, but this is just sort of an overview. Do I like it? How did the photos turn out? And yeah, this camera is not for everyone. It's not for every use case, and neither is the Fujifilm. This is not going to be like a super scientific test. Like I didn't, put my camera side by side and take the same shot with the Fujifilm and the Olympus pen and kind of go side by side and zoom into 1000%. That's not really the goal of this video. It's just how was the overall experience? Was it fun? How are the art modes? What are the settings like? How were the controls? How did it feel? Spoiler alert, it was fun, but it's got some flaws. And so let's go over to the computer and let's check it out. One of the things I like about the art mode is you can have it set so that if you take a photo, it'll have the JPEG with the filter and then also a RAW file that is unfiltered. The main problem though is that with the photos that you take from this camera, if you're in the art mode, you can't set all the settings manually. So some of them are automatic and you can adjust exposure compensation and stuff, but you can't set like the aperture and the shutter speed and stuff. And so one of the issues I was finding is that a bunch of the ones that I was taking as JPEGs with different filters, a lot of them, the shutter speed was too slow, and so I was not freezing the movement. And so a lot of the ones of my son running around are blurry. That's one thing to keep in mind. If your subject is fast moving and you're in an art mode, like it just doesn't have the same control, and sometimes you get a high shutter speed to get better light, and then as a result, a lot of mine were blurry. So we'll go ahead and try and go through these and edit them really quick. Here's my super cute son. He's got his toy car there. You can see there's a little bit of motion blur on that car. He does not sit still very often. Overall, I like this image. I feel like it captured, sort of his mean mug that he gives us a lot. Kind of concern or maybe distrust, I would say. Okay, here's one that I took. You can see that I have my settings. I had to adjust them when we went outside, and I hadn't yet, and so it's pretty dark. And we're going to see here how much of the shadows we can recover. Okay, here's one. You can see here there's some lens distortion on the front here, kind of a wide angle, and actually you can see the focus is pretty soft. So I'm not sure what it tried to grab focus on, but I didn't get it, so let's see what we can do about that. This is on one photo raw, and just the default lens distortion correction, you can see there that worked pretty good. On one photo raw, I like the software overall. I'm anti-Adobe, anti-subscription, so I was willing to pay for it. You can see it actually looks pretty good unless you zoom way in. But I like the lens correction worked really well. It found the lens right away and the make and model, and just the single toggle on and off fixed it, and I did not tweak it past that. All right, so nothing crazy, but there's the before and after. Okay, here are some of the sunset. I wasn't sure if any of these were good, so let's just kind of click through these. Don't love it, don't love it, don't love it. Basically don't like any of these compositions. All right, so I actually really like this photo. It kind of tells a story, some nice leading lines. You can see he's actively climbing, but he's pretty sharp. So you can see before and after, nothing crazy. A little bit more contrast, a little bluer skies. Overall, pretty close to what came straight out of the camera. You can see this one a little bit soft. It's also cropped in a little bit. Still pretty cute though. And obviously I'm hecka biased. Okay, here's another one that's a little bit dark. You can see we're shooting in the bright sunlight and I did not adjust the shutter speed fast enough, but we got the motion relatively frozen. Let's see what we can do here. I don't know a ton about photo editing, but one thing I've noticed is like raw files to JPEG, one of the things that you get with a JPEG is way more contrast and saturation. This one actually, saturation wise, I think looks good. If you look at his shirt, it's pretty bright already. And like if I boost it, how much a JPEG would, it kind of goes crazy. I'll maybe add a little bit just because it adds color in his skin. See before, much darker, after, and this is a raw file that kept most of his details in these shadows here. So nothing crazy, but looks pretty good. Okay, here's one that I took outdoors. You can see it's pretty dark. We're gonna see if we can recover any of these without blowing up the highlights thing. I mean, the fun part about doing these in the film simulation modes is you don't really need to edit them. All right, so we'll kind of go through some of these. I did tweak a couple of them. So let's go, I'll show you the ones that I tweaked. I just did the first few. So this guy a little bit, nothing crazy. But we'll just go ahead and look at them. Those are the only 3 that I tweaked. But we'll just flip through. You can see this is one of the film simulation modes. They're just called art modes on the Olympus camera, but they're similar to the Fujifilm film simulation modes. I actually really like this one. I feel like it tells a story, kind of like sneaking through and seeing him in the moment of experimenting and exploring the shop or whatever. Kind of fun. Different composition. Okay, so you can see here film simulation mode or art mode, and then the raw file that it saved as well. That's slightly edited. And we'll just kind of go through these real quick. Some of them I don't have duplicates of, and I was taking them in regular kind of manual mode. But the ones that I was taking in art mode, it was cool that you could get a raw file backup that you could edit how you like. My editing is relatively tame on these, and the JPEG does add a lot of contrast, so especially in this art mode. But this is just the black and white mode, not the film grain black and white mode. So some differences there. You can see there it adds a lot of moodiness and kind of cool choices there, I think, with the contrast there. Honestly, this black and white one works better. That's my opinion. See here again, look at the clouds there. Some real drastic changes with the film simulation or the art mode there. Much moodier, cool black and white photo, I think. So overall, what are my impressions? I actually really had a lot of fun with this. Even the art modes, you don't have as much creative control in the art modes, but it does save a raw backup that you can edit later on your computer. Some of the modes that were black and white and kind of the film grain black and white, I thought were very fun to experiment with, and I had a good time overall. I think some of them actually turned out stronger than just the plain photo that I edited, and honestly, I should edit these into black and white and kind of compare them that way. But I didn't, so if we want that video, I guess we'll make it next time, but thanks for watching. Also, real quick, if you want a review of On One Photo Raw, that's my editing software of choice currently. I like it overall, but there's a few things that I wish were better. So I'll do a video about that if people comment and want one. So